गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We are in Amrutanubhav of Jnaneshwar Maharaj, which is his own direct experience of reality, narrated on the orders of his own Guru Maharaj, Swamiji, Guru Nivrittinath, who was his elder brother. And here in this chapter, in the third chapter, Vacharna Parihara, we are looking at the way to pay the debt of Vani. If we have to speak, speaking happens at two levels. Gross level speech is at the mouth, from the mouth it comes out, and the other is at the mind level. There also talking is going on most of the time. And the third is the silence, that is also speech. So one is the gross speech, subtle speech, and silent speech. So how can we use this speech, which is a way of communication with ourselves as well as with others, in such a way that we come to be established in the Guru Tattva. And that will only happen when the debt of the speech is rendered. And that happens only when the speech is employed, used to contemplate, to talk about that one infinite reality. And here he is explaining that this speech is of four types: Vaikhari, Madhyama, Pashyanti, Para. We saw that last time. We haven't started the second verse, na? Yes, we just started the second verse, and so here, how the four speeches are useless and meaningless in the kingdom of the divine and are only expressions of ignorance is explained in the next OVE. Speech is required, you understand this. Communication, words come about only where there is difference. Where there is one other, as compared to the other. Where there is sense of otherness, there the speech is employed. Where there is no otherness, there is no speech employed. In the deep sleep state, there is no otherness. So no speech, silence. Maunam Vyakhya, Dakshinamurti says. See? In waking and dream, there is otherness. Me versus the world. Please put your audio off. Me versus you, I versus them, others, and then the speech comes about. And this speech, Bhagavan is saying, because who is Bhagavan? One without a second. Who is Bhagavan? Abhinna Nimitta Upadan Karan. He is the transcendental and immanent. When we say he is transcendental to the creation and immanent in the creation, does not mean creation is. But again, in communication, we have to use that type of language. The word creation has to be used because that is our experience at the moment. We have to use the word waves and ocean, but actually it is only water. So where are the ocean and wave? Existing in their own absence. Same way, when we say the divinity, the reality, the Guru Tattva is transcendental to the creation, beyond the creation, unaffected by the creation, untouched by the creation, yet immanent through the creation, means it is pervading, percolating every aspect of the creation. It is to impress to us the scope, what this reality scope is. It's not to prove that creation is. See? Because that which is existing in its own absence is creation. And this creation, which is mithya, where has it come from? Where has this jivatva come from? Where has this individuality come from? Where has this body come from? Where has this ego come from? In you people, where has the father, mother, daughter, sister, brother, where have they come from? Have they come from man? Have they come from man or woman? No. They have not come from man. But they cannot come without the man or the woman. Man and woman are the substratum, and these roles are coming. But is the man or woman creating those roles? No. So where are these roles? If you touch the man, do you touch the husband? No. If you touch the man, do you touch the son? No. Then where are these roles? They are existing in their own absence. So who is man? Man is transcendental to all the roles, yet immanent through all the roles. Yet immanent through all the roles. And when we use this type of language, it does not mean that those roles are real. Roles are illusions. Roles are imaginary. Same way, this entire creation is also imaginary. And that which is imaginary, that which is mithya, that which is an illusion, that which is not permanent, that which is always changing. And what are you? Essentially, the unchanging, the permanent, the all-knowing. So the finite can only be a result of ignorance, incomplete knowledge. And where there is incomplete knowledge, there is speeches. Where there is complete knowledge, there is eloquent silence. There is objectless awareness, where there is abidance. So here Bhagavan Jnaneshwar Maharaj is saying how the four speeches are useless and meaningless in the kingdom of the divine and are only expressions of ignorance is explained in the next OV. Here viparadika chaughi jiva moksha cha upegi avidye save angi vechati kira. Whom will Lord speak to? What will divinity speak to whom? If everything is divine, how can divine have a dialogue with itself? You need otherness to have dialogue with. And therefore, the purpose of human birth is to recognize that we are that one, all pervasive principle. Whether you do it through devotion, through knowledge, does not matter. But get there while living, not after death. Because nobody knows after death what happens. No, no, we have read book, then continue, enjoy. If you are sincere about who you are, inquiry, then you will appreciate these statements of Gnaneshwar Maharaj. He says, although the four Vanis are useful to the Jiva to gain liberation, they are all parts, limbs of the same original ignorance or avidya. So where there is incomplete knowledge, there alone the speech comes about. Where there is ignorance, there the duality comes about. There the differences come about. And where there are differences, sense of otherness, then the speech will come about. And what we have taken ourselves to be as an individual, we have taken ourselves to be ignorant fools. And who are we actually? We are of the nature of divine. So the wave has taken itself to be a limited water, limited form, out of foolishness. But what is it actually? The infinite water. Same. Then on what account we are taking ourselves to be an individual? Only because we have identified with this form. That's all. Either you drop this form from your mind, or you come to a disposition that all forms is me, is I. Both ways works. But as long as we say I am only this body and we want to pursue the truth, you have to expand. You have to not expand, you have to become all inclusive. It is because of incomplete knowledge that the four Vanis means speech, are expressed as different conditionings. But when one comes to discover one's own essential nature, where nothing is included, Vyatireka, the transcendental aspect of the truth, or everything is included, Anvaya, the immanent aspect of the truth is exhaustively experienced as simultaneously transcendental and immanent. When nothing is included, when I am established in the self, self is that where there is no body, no mind, no intellect, no gross body, subtle body, causal body, where there is no Jeev, Jagat, Ishwar, there is only the Satta, the Satvastu, the Guru Tattva. This is Vyatirek. But this is half. This is only half. The next aspect is the Anvaya, where everything is included. And this is what our mind and our senses are going through. Inclusion and exclusion, inclusion and exclusion. Watch yourself. Your senses, your eyes open up to include all the colors and forms. They blink when they are closed, they exclude all the colors and forms. Same way all the senses, same way the mind also. In waking and dream, it includes all the waking world and the waking and the dream world. And in deep sleep, it excludes the waking and the dream world experience. This is what is going on. Now, what is going on? How can we convert it into Adhyatma? That is the game. Not complain about it. So it is Scriptures or Mahatmas are only talking about that which is already going on and giving you a different approach towards it. And that is this. But it will click only when we are subjectively uh, applying it to ourselves. So this Anvaya Vyatirek is always going on. It is not a special act or process that you have to initiate now because you have studied the scriptures. No. Exclusion and inclusion. That is, Vyatirek is in exclusion and Anvaya is inclusion. How are the four Vanis useful? At the Vaikhari Vani level, the statement pronounced by the scriptures and the Guru, I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, is spoken. The Vachya, the object, and the Vachaka Bhed, the word mentioning the object, is present. This is the waking state, the gross level of Dvandva or pairs of opposites. So what is the quality of the Vaikhari Vani? Vaikhari Vani is that where the object of knowledge and the what do you call, the thought of the object, the object of the thought and the thought of the object are both separate. And here it is told, the statement pronounced by the scriptures, I am Brahman, is spoken. So here you are listening. The Vachya, the object, and the Vachaka Bhed. The word mentioning the object. So the object and the word mentioning the object. The thought, what is the object? The object is the object of the thought. Object of the thought will be, if the thought in my mind is Ravi, the object of the thought is Ravi there. Oh, sorry. Object of the thought is Ravi there. See? And they are both present in the waking. So the thought of the object is with me and the object of the thought is separate from me. Are both present. This is the waking state, the gross level of Dvandva. This is how the duality or the Dvandva expresses. See, what is difference between duality and Dvait and Dvandva? Dvandva is outside, Dvait is inside. As the pairs of opposites. Now from Vaikhari we come to subtler. What is the subtler? Madhyama. At the second level of Madhyama Vani, the word and its meaning start integrating. This is the synchronization that comes about. And this synchronization, integration will not come about if our attention is on the gross world. If our attention is on something higher, something subtler, something diviner, something pure, then the integration starts happening. So here he says, at the second level of the Madhyama Vani, the word and its meaning start integrating, being contained in the same mind stuff. What does it mean, in the same mind stuff? Mind stuff is mind. And what is the stuff? The thought. Thought is the stuff of the mind. Water is water. What is water stuff? All the waves and ocean are water stuff. See? So what is mind stuff? All the thoughts. So now what is happening here? The thought of the object. Remember, in Vaikhari the thought and the object were separate. In Madhyama, the thought and the object, both are thoughts only. The thought of the object is also a thought and object of the thought is also a thought. So if I was taking the example of Ravi, the thought Ravi is in the mind, and the object of the thought, which is the form of the form of Ravi, is also in the mind. This is Madhyama. See? Unless one has heard about Aham Brahmasmi at the Vaikhari level, this integration cannot begin at the Madhyama level. Now Ravi means Surya. So let's move on from Surya to Brahman. And so at the Vaikhari level, we have heard Aham Brahmasmi. The idea of Aham Brahmasmi is in our mind, and the object Brahman has not been realized, even though it is plentifully available inside, outside, everywhere, but the experience is not there. Why? Because of objectification, of our habit of objectification. We think that Brahman is separate and I need to realize it, I need to gain it, I need to discover it, I need to become one with it. This is the type of dialogue that goes on in our mind. We forget that Brahman is our nature. If it is our nature, then how can you become one with it? You are already that. Can the husband ever become one with the man? Not possible, because he is already the man. Exactly the same way. Can we become one with the Brahman? Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, and we are chanting, or we are chanting Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Can you become one with the God, Ishvara? Impossible. Why? You are already that. So what is realization? Dissolution of individuality is realization. And what happens when your individuality dissolves? You come back to being who you are essentially. So what was individuality? Your imagination that I am an individual on account of body identification. So now what is happening? As we start, first we heard in a satsang Aham Brahmasmi, or we chanted the name of the Lord. I want realization, I want God realization. Now what is happening? Before, or when we are doing puja, in puja the mantras are in our head or in our mouth, and the puja is going on out there. The God is in the vigraha outside, and the mantras, the name of the Lord is in our mouth. So we have created separation. But when we do Manasik Puja, what happens in Manasik Puja? The name of the Lord is in our mind, and the form of the Lord is also in our mind, isn't it? Now what is happening? The separation which was there in the Vaikhari or in the waking state has now, the separation is vanishing, has vanished. They have come closer. They don't realize that the idea of objectification is still there in the seeker. But at least the difference which was so stark, naked out there in the waking has reduced in the dream or in the Madhyama. Because both the thought and the object of the thought, both are made up of the same thing. What is that? Mind. Both are in the mind only. Now the difference is there, but it's only at the subtle level. It's only at the thought level. Only at the thought level. It's not like in the gross, completely separate. So this knowledge, although only heard, is being transferred to the Madhyama Vani. The gross world is left behind. There is no more interest in maintaining the difference between the object and the word. This is, don't we do this when we go to sleep? The waking, in the waking, we are thinking about sleep. Sleep is some imaginary experience. In our understanding, sleep is where I am in bliss, where there is no disturbance, I am dead to myself. Not to myself, I am dead, yes, to myself as the waker. I am dead to the world, no thoughts of the world come and disturb me, therefore bliss. But who's thinking this? The waker is thinking, and he's thinking, I want to go to sleep, I want to go to sleep, I am sleepy, I am sleepy, I am sleepy. And eventually the waker has to dissolve, only then sleep will begin. Exactly the same way here also, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, or Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. And slowly, 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 eyes are closed, body is in a comfortable position, wherever. It can be sitting. Some people go to sleep while driving also. And suddenly the jerk, the tire goes on the edge of the highway and it happens, and suddenly you wake up, oh my God, and the heart starts beating and whatnot. See? And you are in a beautiful Gaga land for a few seconds before you woke up. Same thing is dream, same thing is waking also. So now, the gross world is left behind. See, you can't force the gross world to leave behind. If you force it, it will come back. If you will it, it will come back. The gross world will come back to get its rightful place. He said, how can you ignore me? And how do we willfully ignore or keep the gross world at bay? When we do tapasya, when we do sadhanas which are full of desire, without understanding. But when we do what we are doing is also this. But what is this knowledge doing us? Naturally, effortlessly gliding us to our essential nature. Every day we naturally, effortlessly glide into sleep. But then we wake up again, and again the world is there. This is on account of our identification. We have heard Aham Brahmasmi many times, but we have not understood its meaning. The impact of that statement we have not pondered upon. Thus, one has gone beyond the limitations of the waking world when one arrives at the Madhyama, Vani or dream consciousness, Taijasa. So, Taijasa is the dream consciousness, Vishwa is the waking consciousness, and Prajna is the deep sleep consciousness. This is at the individual level. Total level, if you want to use the comparison, consciousness at the individual level is Vishwa. At the total level is Brahmaji, Hiranyagarbha or Mahat Tattva. Oh no, sorry, is Virat, not is Virat. Then at the individual subtle body level, it is Taijasa. At the total body level, it is Mahat Tattva. Another word for Mahat Tattva is Brahmaji, the creator. At the individual level, the consciousness at deep sleep state level is called Prajna. And at the total level, it is called Ishvara. See? Again, what is happening? We are slowly moving from gross to subtle, from subtle to beyond. At the Madhyama level, when one has withdrawn from the worldly things, one is in the thought Aham Brahmasmi, but Aham and Brahma have not become one. Huh? So in the Vaikhari Vani, in the gross speech, they were only words, the experience was not there. And whereas, oh, the God is Brahma, Brahman is the infinite, Brahman is the God, Brahman is the self. And Aham Brahmasmi, what is Brahma? Aham is me. Which me? I don't know. Only I am. Aham is I. And Brahma, oh, Brahman is infinite. What is infinite? The world is infinite. Again, at the Vaikhari level, our obsession with the name and form is paramount. So therefore, even though Brahman is infinite, we are hooked only at the name and form level. So when we look at the universe in the night sky, when it is absolutely clear, oh my God, what a beautiful, how far the universe is extended. And where is your attention? On the stars and the galaxies and the Milky Way. Your attention is not on the space. Same thing. Aham Brahmasmi. Our attention is on, we want to experience the Brahman. And therefore, in Vaikhari or waking state, we keep that idea as a separate, which we have never experienced. We keep it in the books. We keep it's in the mouth of the teacher. In the Madhyama level, both have come closer. Aham and Brahman, both are in the mind. I is also a thought in the mind. Brahman is also a thought in the mind. But their union has not taken place. In Vaikhari, Aham and Brahman were separate. In Madhyama, they have both come to the thought level, but complete integration means, excuse me, they are still like water and oil, separate. It's just an example. Don't think now Brahman is like water or Brahman is like oil. I'm just saying that they are separate. But both are in the mind. It's like the wave has understood that it needs to realize water, but it has not realized water. Actually, it is one, but it has not realized it. It's still thinking that Brahman is something, I don't know, it must be a fantastic experience to realize the infinite waters. Then I will do this, then I will do that. This is all on default settings. What would it be like? What will be the experience like? I will be in bliss. I will know everything. That's what the scriptures say. I will be ever existing. What will it be like? And imagination is going rampant. But this is not clicking. That which I am, whatever I am seeking, Aham Brahmasmi, I am already that. We lip sync it. We hear it, but we are not being it. And therefore, but in Madhyama Vani level, we have come closer to it. At least it's not, it's at least it's only at the thought level. So, Aham Brahmasmi, but Aham and Brahman have not become one. In fact, they are distinctly two. By gradual contemplation, when it is understood that Aham and Brahman mean one and the same thing, then one has paid the debt to Madhyama Vani and gone beyond it and moved up to the Pashyanti Vani or the deep sleep state. So, what do you have to do to remove the distance between Aham and Brahman? What do you have to do? Actually speaking, nothing. But as an individual who is addicted to doing something, at a gross level, he was addicted to do something. Now he has chanted the mantra, Aham Brahmasmi, come to Madhyama level. Then what he has to do at Madhyama level? This is what is called as remove all doubts as regards the distinctness between Aham and Brahman. How they are both the same. Reiterate it again and again. Contemplate on it again and again. See, we have to undo everything from 2.5 years old when we were, till then we were in bliss, we are in tune with nature, and it has taken so many years, or maybe so many lifetimes if you say that way, and we have programmed ourselves to be an individual, to recognize that this entire expansion of the world in the waking state is nothing but an expression of the self that I am. I am pervading in and through this whole creation. It's almost out of unbelievable that I can do it. It's almost unbelievable. And therefore, we say, don't go outwards, go inwards. Go to the source. Because the more you go out, the more differences are there and you will get lost in the differences. But when you go within, because this without and within is for the individual, so when you go within, what is happening? The gross is being transcended, then you come to the subtle, then subtle is transcended, you come to the causal, then causal is transcended, you come to the transcendental. So here Bhagavan is, Jnaneshwar Maharaj is saying that by the gradual contemplation, when it is understood that Aham and Brahman mean one and the same thing, thinking is thoughts. Aham is also a thought, Brahman is also a thought. So what is that thinking which is beneficial? That thinking which leads to silence without going to sleep is beneficial. So is our thinking in the waking dream, is it leading to silence? Are we in silence within? And silence does not mean this conscious silence is not opposed to sound and silence. It is transcendental to sound and silence. We are talking about that silence. We are not talking about the silence which is opposite to sound. The silence opposite to sound is deep sleep. The sound opposite to sound is Pashyanti. But what is Paravani? We will come to that. It is transcendental to sound and silence, or absence of sound. Then we have properly used the thinking to reach the destination. But if we are thinking and using thoughts only to keep moving around in circles, feeling good in satsang, feeling good in reading books, and not coming to this eloquent silence, this transcendental peace, which is not opposed to Vaikhari, Madhyama and Pashyanti, because phenomena will go on. That is the silence that we want. We are not trying to access silence only at the equipment level. If we say, oh, from Vaikhari I have come to Madhyama, Madhyama I have come to Pashyanti, I think I have reached. No, you have not reached, because from Pashyanti again there is every possibility you will fall back into Madhyama or Vaikhari. You want to transcend it. When our thinking is employed to come to that transcendental state and recognize it through this contemplation, Aham Brahmasmi, as I, not some imaginary state of realization. So we use the word destination, goal, but where is that destination? The destination is you only. The goal is you only. The path is you only. Uddharet atmanatmanam. Natmanam avasadhayet. So raise yourself by yourself and don't use not self to raise. But what are we doing? We are lost in the words. What are the words? Not self. From an individual point of view, in a seeker point of view, yes, from ultimate knowledge, everything is Brahman, no doubt. But at this moment, the words are limited, words are finite, words are changing. Aham Brahmasmi is also one word against the other word. We don't know the commonality between the two. They are uttered by our mouth or they are uttered by our mind as thoughts, and then they go away after some time. And then we tend to repeat it again because we have not understood it. So we want to repeat it. See? So this objectification of the self, the objectification of what would it be when I and Brahman become one. There is no becoming. This idea has to go out of the mind. This idea has to go out of our mind. And for that, here it is told that do contemplation and contemplate on the meaning, on the unity between Aham and Brahman, that both mean one and the same thing. Then one has paid the debt to Madhyama Vani. And then one moves on, migrates on to the next subtler level, which is Pashyanti, that is the deep sleep state or the causal state. At this stage, the tensions arising out of the Dvandva at the gross level and Dvaita at the subtle level have been dropped. What has been dropped at this level? The desire is in the mind. The effect of desire is outside. The desire appears as a thought and you pursue the object of the desire outside in the world, isn't it? The Aham Brahmasmi has caught your imagination. Has caught your imagination. But because it has not clicked yet, you are still pursuing. You are still pursuing. How? I am one with this whole world. how I alone am expressing as all the minds. Mind is only one, but what am I seeing? Many minds. So at this stage, the tensions arising. Where is the tension? What is tension? Tension is friction. And friction is always between the two. Where there is union, there is no tension, there is no friction, there is no me versus you. And for in our experience, tension or the two is, here it said, Dvandva and Dvaita. Dvandva is Usha is other than Ravi, Ravi is other than Surendran, Surendran is other than Vikas, Vikas is other than others. And this is the Dvandva. Inside is other than outside, up is other than down, gross is other than subtle, and this way keep going on. Bhagwan is other than the self. Why? He is in the temple. He is not with me. This is Dvandva. And what is Dvaita? The thought Aham is not the same as thought Brahman. I am chanting Om Namah Shivaya. Some people, we chant Hamsa Shiva Soham. So Aham, I am. Shiva also, but both are separate. I don't feel the union. I have not experienced the union. I am chanting Hamsa Shiva Soham, but I have not experienced the union. This is the Dvaita which is going on inside. So out there, we have friction with other people, we have friction with experiences, we have friction when things don't go according to our way, we clash, and within also we clash. Mentally we are chanting Om Namah Shivaya, suddenly Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram will come. Suddenly the thought of your children will come. Suddenly the thought of, oh, I was doing puja and suddenly I have stopped in between and I am doing the puja mentally. My God, oh my God, my God. And friction inside. And then you come out and you start doing the puja again. So this friction, this tension, then heat is generated. Then such people who do too much upasana, chanting the name Aham Brahmasmi, they will chant Aham Brahmasmi also, or Om Namah Shivaya, or Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. They keep chanting from gross to subtle, from subtle to causal. They have not gone to the transcendental level. They keep doing this. Mechanically they are going on, but there is no peace of mind for them. When they come out of it, they are very angry because the sense of otherness with regards to the divine was still maintained within in spite of chanting Om Namah Shivaya. Then that frustration, that anger that I have not realized, for so many years I have been doing it and still I am separate to the Lord. It gives them a temporary solace, a temporary silence, a temporary quietness of the mind. But it's only temporary. The moment they come out, again. But if it is done, this whole process of chanting is done with understanding, then that frustration will not be there. And that is what is, at this stage, the tensions arising out of the Dvandva at the gross level and Dvaita at the subtler level have been dropped. So, when we are in the causal state, all the problems, issues, responsibilities, duties, I am bound, I want liberation. All these thoughts and standpoints of that you may be harboring within your mind in the waking or in the dream, all of them become null and void when you are in sleep, isn't it? You are not realized, you are gone to sleep. It seems that I was in meditation. It seems I was in meditation. Because body is sitting straight, eyes are closed, perfect position, but you don't know where you are when you wake up. Or when you are in meditation, you don't know where you are. Which means you are sleeping. You have to be conscious of the process of withdrawal from gross to the subtle, from subtle to the causal, from gross thinking where there is separation is paramount to subtle thinking where separation is within the mind to no thinking. You have to be aware of the whole process. Not when the last thought goes in meditation and you are nicely sleeping for 1 hour and then come again, get up. Oh, it was very wonderful meditation. What meditation? We are fooling ourselves. If we have meditated for last 20, 30, 40 years, then what's the result? What's the result of 20, 30 years of meditation? No, mind has become calm. Mind was becoming calm every day when you go to sleep also. Why you have to sit in meditation and trouble your body for that? Sleep, lie down and go to sleep. That is all. And call it meditation. Good. Meditation means a journey into awareness with awareness. If, as J. Krishnamurti says, objectless awareness. What is, if you remain, if there is no object to be aware of, that is deep sleep state, but you are aware, then what is left if there is nothing for you to interact with, communicate with, talk to, but you are not absent, you are present. That you are. Waking, dream and sleep, they come and go. Self doesn't come and go. If this point is remembered on the seat of meditation, then abidance by grace will happen. Otherwise, we are just shunting. Instead of waking, dream and deep sleep, now we are shunting between waking, dream, deep sleep and meditation. And we are calling meditation another name for deep sleep. Because we are without awareness. At the level of Paravani, now we are transcending Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti. So what is the debt? What is the debt that we have paid at the Pashyanti level? We live a tension-free, worry-free, desire-free life, because there is no differences. At the level of Paravani, and one becomes one with pure consciousness, which supports all the previous three planes. At the level of Paravani, one becomes one with the pure consciousness which supports all the previous three planes. This Turiya Avastha permeates all the three earlier Avasthas, but it is not influenced by them. The Jiva is like the bird sitting on the same tree, enjoying and suffering the fruits and unconcernedly watching is his companion, neither eating nor enjoying the fruits. Comes in the Mundaka Upanishad. So what is the deep sleep? Pashyanti Vani. Pashyanti Vani is the cause, and it expresses as what? Dvaita and Dvandva. It expresses as the subtle and the gross. So subtle and gross are the effect, and Vaikhari and Madhyama are the effect, and Pashyanti is the cause. Deep sleep is the cause, waking and dream are the effect. And what is the effect? Gross effect and subtle effect. Gross differences and subtle differences. Dvandva and Dvaita. And what is cause? What is the causal level or the Pashyanti level? Where Dvandva and Dvaita both are absent. So what has so have we transcended it? No. They have only become unmanifest. But if we remain aware of the manifestation and unmanifestation, then we have transcended. Then we have transcended. So today's meditation was what? The power of the vision alone is expressing as the various colors and forms. The power of the hearing alone is expressing as all the sounds. And so on for every senses. So all the colors and forms, they do not affect the vision. The power of seeing is not affected by the colors and forms because it alone is expressing. Gold is not affected by the ornaments. Water is not affected by the waves. Similarly, ears are not affected by the sounds. See? Similarly, this is at the sensory level. Come back to one level. The mind is not affected by the senses. The 10 senses, the karma, the organs of perception, of knowledge, seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting, and the 5 organs of action, these 10 together, mind is not affected. Why? Mind alone is expressing as the 2, as the 10. Effect can never trouble the cause. Cause alone is expressing as the effect. So mind alone is expressing as the 10 senses. So vision was not affected by the colors and forms. So many colors and forms keep coming and going. Vision is unaffected. Mind is unaffected by the 10 senses. Intellect is unaffected by the thoughts that are coming. That is why so many thoughts are coming and going, no? But my intellect is not worried. अरे फिर से इतने thoughts आ गए, अरे अब no. Similarly, the pure consciousness, the Atma Tattva, is not affected by the waking, dream, deep sleep and samadhi. They also come and go. Now where are you? Are you at the sensory level? Oh, no, sir, you have come too far. We are still in the world only, not even at the sensory level. We are outside the senses. Or are you taking the position where you know the waking, dream, sleep are coming and going and you are unaffected by it? Now you have to practice this again and again and again and let it go deep into your bosom. become a deep conviction that I have to take that position. And that will only come through practice, continuous association with this thought. This is the impact of Aham Brahmasmi. Where it becomes a natural disposition. And it is there always. And then he takes the example of the Dvau Suparna Sayuja Sakhaya, two birds sitting on the tree. One is picking on the fruits and the other one is the eternal witness. We are also the two birds. One who is chonch maar raha hai, pecking on the fruits of action, addicted, continuous thinking, addicted, waking, dream and sleep, addicted. But there is other one who is watching, unaffected by the waking, dream and deep sleep. And both are you. Choice is yours. You are understanding what I am saying. Because you know waking, dream and sleep have come and gone. So when I say this, that vision is unaffected by the colors and forms, mind is unaffected by the 10 senses, intellect is unaffected by the thoughts, and Atma is unaffected or transcendental to the waking, dream, sleep. You are nodding. Now which one do you stay at? What do you decide your position to be? Initially it's a decision only, and it will be directly proportional to your conviction, how you convinced you are, how hungry you are with that. So come to that point, keep contemplating on that like there is no tomorrow. ये खत्म करो यार, बहुत साल हो गए, enough. How long will I keep dragging this drama? Let me sort it out once and for all. How long will I keep giving lectures? Let's sort it out. Thus, all the four Vanis are the means by which one comes to know one's essential nature step by step. When the seeker has gone beyond the Paravani, he has dropped not only the ignorance but all the four limbs of ignorance. So, we are using the word Turiya Avastha only with reference to Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. We are using the word Paravani, the transcendental speech, only with reference to Vaikhari, Madhyama and Pashyanti, so that our attention is on that which is something beyond. We are using the word Sat so that we do not get caught up in Asat. We are using the word Chit so that we do not get caught up in Achit. We are using the word Ananda so that we do not get caught up in Dukkham. But is the truth Satchidanand? No, it is not Satchidanand. The word Sat, Chit, Anand are, as Jnaneshwar Maharaj says, they are an abuse to the reality. Gali hai gali. Because every word that you use is only limited, it's only finite. And that which is finite is only an abuse to the infinite. And yet I am using these words only to put that across. See? So here he is saying this is a step-by-step liberation. You move from gross to subtle, subtle to causal, causal to transcendental. Jagrat to Swapna, Swapna to Sushupti, Sushupti to Para. This is the Kundalini Marga. From Mooladhara to Transcendental Sahasrar. Para is Sahasrar. But is truth Sahasrar? No. Truth is beyond Sahasrar. Then why did you use Sahasrar? So that you get inspired to seek something higher. So Paravani, why we use the Paravani? So that you know that there is something beyond this norm of waking, dream and deep sleep. Can it be called Turiya? No, it cannot be called Turiya also. Then what can it be called? No, there is no name for it. Then what is it? It is what it is. And you are that. You are that. These different terms and terminologies are used only in the realm of ignorance. And we are speaking to the individual, and individuality is in the realm of ignorance. This communication that is taking place is not happening to reality. Reality knows it. See, the other bird which is within you, he knows it. He doesn't need it. Then to whom are we addressing? The one who's pecking on the fruits of action. Ye meetha hai, yak. You know, like the cockatoos, if you see them nowadays there are so many. Day before yesterday we went to Dandenong. Oh, hundreds of them flying over us. They peck the fruit. If it is sweet, they will eat a little bit, throw the rest of it. If it is sour, he just yuck, fight with it. And when it is sour, it will not come off the tree also that easily. And he keeps fighting with it. मेरा मुंह खराब किया, अभी बताता हूँ. So he has dropped not only the ignorance but also the four limbs of ignorance and the four vanis. So Vaikhari, Madhyama, Pashyanti, Para are expressions of ignorance. Waking, dream, deep sleep, and if you want to use realization, the idea of realization is only in the ignorant. It's not present. The waves, ocean, drops, froth, tides. This is only for the ignorant. Wave. But from the water's point of view, nothing like that exists. But then you just said that truth is transcendental and immanent, that you are, everything is in you and you are in pervading everything. That statement was told to the ignorant only. That statement was not told to the truth. So that we get fired up, that there is a possibility of such a disposition where we feel at one ment with all that there is, without any distinctions, or in spite of the distinctions. Because as long as this body is there, we will experience the distinctions. And Mahatmas live like that. Jnaneshwar Maharaj has realized that. That's why he is able to talk of it in such a manner. This is how the debt has been paid to the four Vanis by discovering the freedom from them. Then how does this person live then? whether speech happens or does not happen, who cares? If the mantra is coming in the mouth or in the mind or there is no mantra, how does it matter? Keep thinking. Whether we are waking, whether we are whether the mind is waking or dreaming or sleeping or in meditation, how does it matter? Is that's the nature of the mind? Let it go on doing it. Automatically four came now: waking, dream, sleep, and meditation. Both are at the realm of ignorance only. All four of them are at the realm of ignorance. Who are you? Who knows? Oh, yesterday meditation was very nice. Yesterday, day before yesterday, the sleep was very nice. All these are states which are coming and going. Then you can be in meditation with eyes open, and if the eyes close, it's okay. If the eyes open, still okay. Let things happen naturally, not willfully. No, I spend morning 2 hours in meditation, evening 2 hours in meditation, afternoon 2 hours in meditation, before sleeping also. Oh, so he's sleeping for so long, huh? That means that night the sleep was not enough. Or he's running away from the world. Our natural, it is our realization is our natural state. Transcendence is our natural state. Let the other four states or the four speeches come and go. How does it matter? Sometimes something is always going to happen. As long as this body is there, something will always happen. And that is your experience also. Sometimes waking will happen, sometimes dream will happen, sometimes sleep will happen, sometimes meditation will happen. Let it happen. Don't initiate it. Don't will it. Don't wish it. Then what do? Be empty. Let the mind go through all these. We must be as comfortable in the self with eyes open as we are with eyes closed. Oh my God, Swamiji, that is, how will that be? Don't cancel it. Work towards it. Work towards it. This is explained in the next few OVs. Deha save hatapaye zati manasave indriye ka surya save zahe kiranazad. As the limbs die along with the body, the senses disappear along with the mind, and the rays of the sun go along with the sun. Just as darkness vanishes with the arrival of the sun, with the disappearance of the sun, the rays of the sun also disappear, isn't it? When the body is cremated, the limbs of the body, all the different parts of the body, they also go out of existence. Same thought is presented. When the body is lifted, the limbs are also lifted. So what is body? Is the body equal to sum total of all the parts put together? Think. So, what are you lifting? One is holding the head, another is holding the right arm, another is holding the left arm, another person is holding the legs, and you lift. Hey, you caught only 5 limbs, but we are lifting the body. Body is much more than only the five parts of the body. So he is holding the head, but he is saying, I am lifting the body. He is holding the hand, but he is saying, I am lifting the body. He is holding the legs, but he says, I am lifting the body. We are lifting the body. When the body is lifted, the limbs are also lifted. When the incompleteness in knowledge is dispelled, the avidya which supports the four vanis also goes away. This is the first meaning. So, as we become, or as we with understanding come to the correct understanding, complete understanding of ourselves, and how do we do that? By removal of incomplete understanding. That's all. What is complete understanding? We are only knowing it through words. We have not had the, we are thinking that we don't have the direct experience. And thinking can never come to have the experience of the realization. So as long as we are thinking, we have to, we are incomplete. So here says, when the incompleteness in knowledge is dispelled, is it that you are going to remove the incompleteness? Is it that you remove the world from your mind when you go to sleep? Or the world automatically leaves your mind? Or is it that all the thoughts automatically leave the mind alone? Think. This shift in thinking must happen. Then the willfulness will go away. Then the efforts will go away. Then it will be effortless. Everything is effortlessly happening. The avidya which supports the four speech vanis also goes away. So when we come to abide in the self as the self, then the four vanis. We are not talking only about the transcendental as transcendental vani or paravani. We are going beyond that also. We are that the word transcendental was used, paravani was used only with respect to Vaikhari, Madhyama and Pashyanti. A second meaning, when the gross body which is functioning only in the waking state is discarded, the individuality called the waker, the waking world and the waking experience, which are the limbs of the gross body, are also dropped. And this is our daily experience. When the waking experience is dropped, waker, waking world and waking experience also drops away. And it gives way to dreamer, dream world and dream experience. Then that also drops away. Then utter ignorance, which we call it as deep sleep state. It is not that from waking we have to go to dream, from dream we have to go to deep sleep, and from deep sleep we have to go to meditation. This is not the journey. This journey is for the individual. But how will I go beyond the deep sleep? If I go from Vaikhari to Madhyama, I understand. From Madhyama, if I go to Pashyanti, I understand. From Pashyanti, where there are no thoughts, how will I go to Para? Have you ever thought? There is no thinking going on there. Then how will I go to Para? सोचो, there is no contemplation possible in the Pashyanti or in the deep sleep state. You are in the lap of ignorance. Then how will I transcend and go to Paravani? So it is not a linear journey. This is only an observation that these four states, Pashyanti Para, Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para, waking, dream, deep sleep and Samadhi, these things come and go. Don't create a sequence that now from here I have to go inside, from inside I have to go to zero, from zero then I will go into meditation. Then again you are caught up in the cyclical existence. Now all you have done is added one more aspect to it. What is that? The transcendental aspect. Before it was only waking, dream and sleep. Now because you have become spiritual and started listening to satsangs, now you have added one more. What is that? Waking, dream, deep sleep and meditation also, another transcendental aspect. But you are still moving around in these four. Again, you have created another cycle. Before it was a cycle of 3, now it is a cycle of 4. घूमते रहो उसी में. We have to get out of this gravity. To the mind, the senses are the limbs. When the mind is quietened, the indriyas through which the mind functions also subside. In the same way, when the basic ignorance, mula avidya, about one's own essential identity is totally removed, its limbs, the four vanis, also have no more potency. How beautiful! No amount of see no evil, hear no evil, talk no evil is going to quieten the mind. Because senses, as I told before, senses are the effect of the mind. They are included in the mind. So when the cause is quietened, the effect automatically quietens down. See? When the cause is quietened, the effect automatically quietens down. So here is, and what is the cause? Cause is the mind. If the mind is quietened down, automatically the senses quieten. So that is why we are told, at the sensory level, don't get lost in the world. We have just told you, vision is one, colors and forms are many. If you get lost in the color forms, then you must have seen some people, they keep looking, the eyes cannot stop. Some people you must have come across, they're there and they are बैठे हुए, but their ears are so sharp, they are listening to every damn thing what everyone is saying. And somewhere far away, some word was, did you talk about me from there? Because ears. But if our attention is on the principle of vision, if our attention is on the principle of hearing, then how does it matter? What is heard and not heard? What forms come and don't come? Similarly, if our attention is on the senses, sometimes we'll be seeing, sometimes we'll be hearing, sometimes we'll be touching, sometimes we'll be walking, sometimes we'll be speaking. So 10 senses, we are broken up into 10 parts. But if our attention is on the mind, then these 10 are unable to split us into 10 pieces. Because they are in the end only a thought in the mind. So if you come to the mind and calm the mind, these 10 senses automatically become calmed down. So here he is saying the second meaning, no, where are we? When the mind is quietened, the indriyas through which the mind function also subside. Is it you are melting the gold or you are melting the ornament? What are you melting? Are you melting the gold or are you melting the ornament? I am asking.
Ornament.
Gold.
Naturally, there will be two opposite viewpoints. But think, don't just get excited with the answer to the question. Are you melting the gold or are you melting the ornament?
Gold.
Gold is the substratum, Swamiji. So why do we want to melt it?
Tell bhai, those who say gold and don't say ornament, answer Renuka.
Ornament is an illusion. It's only the gold which is there, which is a form.
Renuka, counter argument.
As long as we are in the mind, we are in the body.
I am talking about gold and ornament. Don't go to body and mind.
That's right, Swamiji. But then I do see only the jewels. So when I see that the substratum is the gold, and then I don't really need to melt the gold.
No, you're stretching the example. My simple question is, are you melting the gold? I'm not talking about melting the reality, melting the individuality. I'm saying, are you melting the gold or are you melting the ornament?
I cannot see the ornament as an illusion right now. Okay. So the counter argument is like he said the jewel or the ornament is an illusion, but it is not illusion yet to me.
Okay. Okay. Someone is saying something? Is someone else saying something?
No, sir.
No. The ornament is only a form, and form is existing in its own absence. So when the gold is melted, whatever the form automatically goes out of existence. Same way, when the mind is dissolved, automatically all the forms that the mind has taken, what is the form that the mind has taken? The entire world, which includes this body also and the senses. All of them automatically melt. Isn't it your experience every night when you go to sleep? When the mind dissolves, when the mind becomes quiet, all the expressions of the mind, they also become quiet. They stop agitating. In fact, why only stop agitating? That they are there, that also is not cognized in the deep sleep state. In the same way, when the basic ignorance, Moola Avidya, about one's own essential identity is totally removed, the four Vanis. Now understand, this is where the problem comes. When just now someone said that I don't see the form as unreal. if you don't see the form as unreal, yes, essentially it is, the reality is transcendental, immanent in everything. But when we say reality, the self is transcendental and immanent in everything, your attention is on everything. Your attention is not on reality. Because if your attention was on reality, then there is no everything. There is nothing called pervasiveness then. And this we keep impressing. From water's point of view, there is nothing called infinite number of waves. It alone is. But when we are talking to a wave, then we have to talk that you are micro and there is something called macro. What is that macro? Ocean is the macro. And there is something transcendental also. What is that? Water. And you have to take that journey from individuality to totality, from totality to transcending totality and individuality. Oh, to whom are you telling? You are not telling this to water. You are telling this to the individual. So when we are talking about that, when the mind becomes quiet, all the limbs also become quiet, or all the senses also become quiet. We are not telling it to the reality. We are telling it to the individual. Because at this moment, this communication is happening to an individual. It is not happening to the if you have recognized, if you are established in the truth, fantastic. Then there will be no questions. Then you will understand the examples that are given. They are unimportant. They are unimportant then. Then there is no realization also. Then there is no satsang also required. There is no practice is required. Why? You are already there. But when there is communication going on, who is being addressed? The mind is being addressed. In that mind, the individuality, the concept of individuality is there. And for this mind, which is not able to recognize this individuality, which is not able to recognize that it is something greater, first it is impressed on this individual that, hey, you are not just an individual. See, there is a waking individual, there is a dream individual, and there is absence of these three. I understand. I am not only waker, but I am these three. Then it is one more step. Hey, you are transcendental to these three also. There is one more step before there. How will I catch that? Try this. Try meditation. Try Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para. And then when you come to masters like Jnaneshwar Maharaj, or come to the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, or you read Ashtavakra Gita, very, very sublime. There, then even that idea of transcendence is taken away from you. You are not allowed to hold on to anything. So we are presented the idea of para only with reference to the previous three speeches. But as we are going through this text, you are seeing Jnaneshwar Maharaj and Swamiji, they are again and again taking us beyond the para also, so that we don't get stuck at para. The idea of transcending means there is something that you have to transcend. Transcending means going beyond. So there is something that you need to go beyond. But truth is everywhere. Where it will go beyond anything? It is there is no place that it does not go, can go anywhere. So for whom is this, that from gross to subtle to transcendental? For whom? It is for the individual. It is not for the truth. And if we try to dissolve the waking, we will become agitated. If we try to dissolve the subtle, we will remain more frustrated, become restless. But when we come to the sleep, automatically both of them are, naturally they are quiet. When we come to para or samadhi, then all the three, we know these three are coming and going, and we remain in the udasin bhav with respect to that, with respect to these three states. But we have to go even beyond the para. We have to go beyond meditation. We have to come to abide in our natural state, and that is what is told here, that in the same way, when the basic ignorance, moola avidya, about one's own essential identity, this moola avidya alone is expressing as Vaikhari, Madhyama, Pashyanti and Para. This moola avidya alone expressing as waking, dream, deep sleep and meditation or samadhi. Meditation or samadhi is also part of avidya only. To be a witness, I am Sakshi, is also an expression of avidya alone. We have to go beyond that, because the witness, the Sakshi, is witnessing something. There is still duality. The witness is witnessing. There is something called witnessed. Then we are maintaining the duality. And who are we? Essentially, one without a second. So where is the question of duality then? All these are triggers so that we become, how should I say? We go beyond thinking in spite of thinking. We take that position. And from that position, when we get there, there is only one without a second. But till we are not abiding, till then all this language and confusion and misunderstanding and right understanding, it keeps happening, depending upon our moods, depending upon what we have eaten, depending upon what text we are reading, depending upon who the speaker is, depending upon what your mindset is at the time of listening or speaking. The second meaning refers to the subtle body or the dream state, which begins with the simultaneous expression of the dreamer, dream world and the dream experience. When the mind has disappeared, where is the question of these three? In this way, when a Vaikhari Vani is transcended and B, the Madhyama Vani is transcended, one is heading to the destruction of ignorance. Now, destruction of ignorance, I will explain this in the next class, is not going into deep sleep. You have to bypass the Pashyanti. Then alone you will get to Para. If you fall into the lap of Pashyanti or if you fall into the lap of sleep, then there is no transcendence possible. So that part, destruction of ignorance, is not going through the deep sleep state. destruction of ignorance is not going through the Pashyanti Vani, is bypassing it. We'll talk more about that particular verse in our, not verse, that thought in our next class. Om Purnamada Hui Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Sit quietly for a few moments. Hari Om.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om, take care.
Hari Om.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Sorry I took extra time. I didn't realize it was 13 minutes past 10. कोई बोलता भी नहीं
No
है.
problem Swamiji. Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Swamiji.
Hari Om, Renuka.
Swamiji. Kartika Deepam, Swamiji.
Pardon me?
Today, Kartika Deepam.
Oh, Kartika Deepam today. Very auspicious day. And you are missing it out.
Yes, Swamiji.
Otherwise, every year you are there at Tiruvannamalai, Arunachala. Oh, wonderful.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om Lumina. Hari Om Bhageshri.
Hari Om Swamiji.
साकेत. विनय कैसी है? तबीयत कैसी है विनय?
अच्छे है Swamiji. It's
हाँ,
good.
good.
Not feeling too bad.
फिर लगे रहो.
हाँ अभी पर बाहर कोई गीला है पूरा. देखते हैं. I'll do it.
पानी इकट्ठा हुआ. वाटर गॉड.
पूरा गीला हो गया है.
पर पानी इकट्ठा हुआ नहीं.
नहीं.
नहीं, वेरी गुड. फिर अब फटाफट उसके बाकी का क्लियर करके वो मिट्टी डाल दो और क्या.
हाँ, आप कैसे हो?
मैं तो एकदम बढ़िया हूँ.
ठीक है.
हरि ओम. चलो, टेक केयर.